Right, hello. Hopefully I'm live. While I'm waiting for people to come on, I'll just have a look at some stuff on my phone. Yeah, today what I've been doing that's quite interesting is playing about with that NVIDIA AI for making images, because it's a lot better than Cray AI on and all those, because it uses your GPU to actually make pictures, so it does it in about a second rather than... Right, Visa? Have you been notified of any of the members streams I've done recently? Because I don't know if it's notifying everybody or it's just that people haven't been on when I've done them, sort of thing. So hopefully it's just been that you weren't around when it sent the notification out, but I'm hoping it's still notifying people, but I don't actually know at my end. All right, that's cool. Yeah, all right, kid. Yeah, no, that's cool then. Yeah, it's just because of the fact, like, I never know if it's something not working at YouTube's end with it. That's the problem. All right, pass to instructor. Yeah, the online ones are all right, but it's a lot more powerful using the ones that use your GPU to render it, because you can do it a lot faster. So if something doesn't turn out as you want, you can just regenerate the image rather than waiting like a minute to 2 minutes. You can do the image within, say, like a second to 2 seconds. It's similar to Midjourney, right? I think there is a way you could get it to work on AMD cards. There's a tutorial for setting it up, right? Let me try and remember what it's called, because it has a long bloody name. 1 second. Go to Fusion, and I'll find you the tutorial for it, because there's a tutorial that tells you, how to set it up, like an idiot's guide to it, basically. So let me get one of those up. So here you go. Yeah, so basically, I run it on my 3090, and I've got like all the AI prompting stuff. So yeah, it just runs it using my GPU. Yeah, that's cool. But that guide tells you how to set it up at least, because I followed that this morning and I had it working, within 20 minutes of doing all the bits it asked you to do. So there is a Stable Diffusion web thing, isn't there? But they limit how many pictures you can do per day or whatever. I don't know, Hemlock. It might have a date stamp inside it. I don't know. A lot of helmets do. I've not really looked at mine, to be honest, enough to date it. I mean, I know some helmets, like the strap design, changes over time. So if you've got one with a certain type of strap, it's from a certain year or time frame. But well, somebody's got a picture of me, so I'm getting rid of them. It's a bit creepy, isn't it, when other people have pictures of you for their icons? Right, that's done. I think that's the person that makes multiple accounts and keeps coming back, by the way. But yeah, you get a lot of weirdos on YouTube, kid. That's why I've got with these streams set to now, doing the 1 month subscriber thing again, so people can't just instantly make a new account and come back if they're But yeah, I'm hoping to get a video done this week that might be a bit interesting. I don't know. Depends if people find it interesting or not. But again, it's just one of those things where at the moment, like I said, put off what I was saying then. Because like I said, at the moment, I'm having a lot of days where I'm just sort of quite busy with work and that. So it depends if I get time. But there's a Geiger counter video on. I don't actually think it's a Geiger counter. I think I did a short on it. I think the alpha monitor is actually a scintillation counter, because I'm pretty sure it's got a crystal as its thing rather than a what do you call it? Rather than an actual bloody word. Rather than a Geiger Miller tube with an alpha window. I think that one actually uses a crystal, so it's like a scintillation counter. But so I've not bothered to do the video on it yet. Yeah, I watched quite a bit of that Ivory State. Obviously, I didn't watch the entire thing. Because the problem's been in the UK that news 24/7 has been about the Queen non-stop. Um, so it means like if you're actually wanting to find news on other stuff, it's like quite difficult. And I'm not really interested in the news people saying like, "Oh, let's talk to random people in the queue to see the Queen's body," sort of thing. So I watched a bit of the actual funeral and that, especially because there's like loads of world leaders there and that. But I'm hoping now, like within a day or two, like they'll actually start talking about different stuff again, rather than it just being the Queen non-stop. I mean, here, Murray, it would be actually quite difficult not to watch it, just in the sense that it was on everything. Like all the normal programs are cancelled if you were going to watch TV, sort of thing. Um, it's not an original thing because it's on a T-shirt. It's one of those like Miltech ones. I do have a load of old East German stuff, but yeah, it's based on the East German raindrop print. It's just where they did like loads of camos you could buy as T-shirts. But yeah, it's quite a good camo for what it is, isn't it? The thing like you're saying, because it does look like tall grass or whatever, and it's again it's that vague weird color where it always seems to fade into everything in ambient light because it's just literally a boring shade of brown, so your eye doesn't really notice it. But yeah, the coolest rain pattern though is the Czechoslovakian one because that's the one that has the infrared secondary camo on it as well. So if you look under it, like through night vision, it looks like a different camo pattern. Um, I'm not gonna buy it when it first comes out, Ivory State, but I might get it eventually. Because again, I've not played the single player in Black Ops, like the new Black Ops, or the other, like the new Modern Warfare from a couple of years ago. I've got them, but I haven't even played the single player on. So that's something I need to do at some point. So it's like the thing I might sort of get eventually, but at the moment, I have been playing. Well, I finished Destroy All Humans 2 recently. I've been playing Steel Division 2, Warno, and Regiments. Regiments is a bit like Warno, but just a different developer. I need to finish Entropy Zero 2, which is a really good Half-Life 2 mod. And I've got some other games like that I've played a bit of, enjoyed, but not had the time to sit down and play properly at the moment. So they're the sort of things I'll be playing through at the moment. But yeah, so again, it's not like I'm not going to play them. It's just like I said, I have the problem of if I buy stuff when it's on a Steam sale or whatever, my game library gets bigger and bigger beyond the point at which I play them. But yeah, so if anyone who wants to bring anything up that isn't too politicky or whatever, I don't mind. So I'll look on the news here. The only thing I've seen from Ukraine recently is they're still pushing east and taking a load of territory that that Russia's had since 2014, essentially. But yeah, a lot of the stuff on the news is still the Queen stuff. But I think I'm Alfie. It's more just him begging North Korea for like shells and stuff like that because Russia's like wasted so much of their own ammo inventory that he's like trying to get shells or like drones or whatever from anybody he can. I think that's really all there is to it. So I think they had some Iranian drones the other week, but for the most part, most countries aren't supplying them, and because Ukraine's been HIMARSing all their ammo dumps everywhere, they're running out of shells pretty quickly. Because Russia's very artillery heavy. It's kind of like how the Soviets did everything. So when they don't have an artillery advantage, their army's pretty useless. And that's like what you're seeing a lot of Ukraine now. Is as soon as their front lines get breached, they just have no structure to respond to it, which is good because they shouldn't invade another person's country. But the point is that that their model of like doing everything where you just have a thinly stretched front line across lots of the country, and then not really much beyond it is not how you would do military stuff, but that's the way they're doing it, which is good because they are the invader. So if they're fucking shit up in the sense of they can't plan a good invasion, that's good for everybody. It's because it's so corrupt. I think Ivory State. I think everybody thought it would just be like the Soviet Union back when they had like the massive land army and everything, and it's turned out to be kind of like a shadow of its former self. And then the corruption's hollowed so much of it out where stuff doesn't get to where it needs to be. And because they're not considering this a proper war, they're not actually declaring mobilization. And now if they did mobilize, it would be too late because nearly all their best equipment's already been destroyed or captured. Because most of the wars Russia fought in like since 2000 have been against like much weaker countries than Ukraine. So when they actually picked on somebody that could fight back, it didn't really turn out very well for them. It's basically, I think, the thing. Yeah, again, MKID, it's a lot of the stuff is, again, it's because they're trying to use like less than 200,000 troops against probably about 1 million mobilized men. They just can't secure anywhere near as much ground. So Ukraine can basically afford to try and do a push anywhere. Whereas Russia can't keep the bulk of its forces. If they spread them all out, they'd be too thinly spread out. So if they reinforce somewhere like Kherson, which they're doing at the moment, they can delay Ukraine trying to recapture that. But that means that they've got like barely any troops anywhere else, which is what's happening now. Ukraine is basically just pushing into all the territory where they've realised they've just got no troops there, and they're recruiting like disabled, homeless people and prisoners now, aren't they? As like their cannon fodder. So it's obviously not going well for them when they have to keep getting Wagner to like recruit prisoners. I was watching like a 10-minute translated thing that was quite interesting with some guy that had been in prison in Russia since I think like 99, he said. And then because he still had years to serve on his sentence, when he was offered the chance to like join a PMC thing, he did it. And then he saw loads of people getting shot for basically nothing. Like day one of them doing that. He said like they had a like 1 week training thing where they only had like 1 day of range time. And like weapons handling, most of it was just stood around in like some sort of prison camp in Donetsk or somewhere. And then he said like after a couple of days of them just being shelled and more people dying, so they're essentially a penal battalion, they all just like wandered into the Ukrainian line to surrender because that was the best thing they could do. Yeah, basically it's desperate, Stephen, because bear in mind, basically what they're doing is that, like, in terms of getting manpower, it's not stupid. But bear in mind, when your thing is basically you can't retreat or we shoot you, people that are smart will realize that surrendering to the enemy is basically saying, I just got here, let me surrender, is probably the best step. Yeah, exactly, MKID. And again, because they're throwing soldiers in piecemeal, it's just patching up little bits here and there, which isn't going to work. Again, yeah, like you say, it's kind of doing the World War One, World War Two kind of just a big infantry push somewhere. But when you're like against modern mechanized forces, that's not going to work. Because again, like Ukraine captured their first Russian T-90M the other day, somewhere near Kharkiv, where they found a T-90M that had just been abandoned, like with no damage to it whatsoever. Yeah, Hemlock. A lot of it is because after 2014, Ukraine tried to westernize a lot. So basically, they were taught by Americans and British sort of soldiers. They were drilled by them. So they basically went, even though they're not a NATO member, they went to a much more Western military standard. Hopefully, Stephen, because there's a lot more pressure on Russia now, I think, from China and India, because it's just dragging on and like making them look bad. So I think, yeah, but the thing is, obviously both sides have to agree to a ceasefire or a peace deal or whatever, because if Russia says, to Ukraine, while Ukraine's got the stronger hand, we want you to, accept this deal, they might just say no and carry on fighting. Because at the moment, it's actually beneficial for Ukraine to keep fighting because they're taking back a lot more land, whereas if Russia just said to them, here's a peace deal, we keep this, and that's the end of the war, that might not be in Ukraine's best interests, because it's not really a war of survival for them anymore. It's actually just about taking back everything like post 2014. Right, firstly, Steel Battled. I don't actually know how it works if, like, Camilla is the queen now or whatever. Because with Prince Philip, he wasn't the king, was he? It was just a queen, and her husband was a prince. So I don't know if she's technically a princess, but again, Diana's dead, so no clue how it worked with her. I think Charles would be all right. Like I said, I don't think it'll be good as his mum, because Elizabeth II was actually really good as a leader. Like, not a leader, she's like a figurehead, isn't she? But most people around the world liked her, even if they didn't like our prime ministers or whatever. I don't think Charles will be bad. But like I said, I just think it's, like if you had a really, really good leader sort of thing in a position and then they're replaced by somebody, they're just not going to be as good. And bear in mind, the Queen was like Queen for 70 something years, where Charles is in his 70s now. So you'd be lucky to get like 20 years before he dies or abdicates or whatever. Yeah, I've seen that where they're like fighting for the airport and that kid, the old one. Yeah, where they're basically all like exactly the same kind of steel pot loadout sort of soldiers fighting each other. Yeah, and now you've got a proper sort of westernized army, which still has some kind of Soviet mindset to it, but they're much, much, more professional. And again, that's like why a lot of Western countries have been supplying them, because the idea is to, keep them in our sphere of influence, essentially. But anyway, I won't be streaming for too long today. Like I said, if anyone wants to bring stuff up, because I've got shit I need to sort out today, unfortunately, because like I said, that's the problem when you're working more and more hours. Less time for YouTube type stuff. But I might play about later and see if I can do some cool gas mask style images with that AI. Again, even like Russia in World War II had that M-Kid, in terms of like if you look at how Russia got its shit kicked in by Germany, like in Barbarossa, and then like how they essentially almost internally reformed their stuff there. I won't say exactly what it is, Stephen, but yes. So the answer is to that, yes. Some days of the week I work much longer hours than other days of the week. But the answer is yes. But because I've had lots of weird doxing shit on here before, I just don't talk about it anymore. Because, the less people know, the less, people fishing for information are going to find out to try and, harass my employer or whatever, like that happened before. But, yeah. So outside of YouTube, yeah, I'm basically 6 days of the week I'm working. 1 day of the week I'm volunteering. Yeah. So yeah, essentially every day of the week, I've got something to do, and then I've got YouTube on top of that when I get spare time for it. They can be shown in the background. I'm not allowed to pick them up, Visa. That's the annoying thing. That sounds about right, John of all trades. I think it depends on what postage service they do it on, but I'd say like 2 to 3 weeks when I've bought stuff from Israel. But I've not bought directly from Israel that much, because sometimes like the taxes on it are more expensive. So if there was Israeli surplus by a UK seller, I'd normally just buy from them just to get it, on standard postage. Yeah, that's the problem, Stephen. Like I'm saying at the moment, especially with cost of living going up, it just means you need to take on more hours when you're working, and then, yeah, less free time. That also means like can't afford to buy as many gas masks and things like that in the background because again, they cost money. All right, Alex. Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. But yeah, the current sort of thing I'd say is working an hour to 2 hours Monday to Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, normally working about 9 hours a day. So yeah, that's probably, let's just say 2 hours a day. So ignoring the volunteering, yeah, that's like 8 hours Monday to Thursday, then another 18 hours on top of that. So yeah, 30 something hours ignoring YouTube stuff. And then, like I said, that's when I can cram stuff in because at the moment it's getting time to film stuff. But yeah. Weirdly, at the start of this stream, I said I was playing Entropy Zero 2 at the moment. I played the original Entropy Zero. Zero 2 is a lot better, in my opinion. But I haven't finished it yet. I'm decently far into it. It was just I kept running into crashes the last time I was playing it. So I'll see if it works next time I try and play it. If not, I'll wait for them to do a patch because it might just be I'm in an area of the game where it's got some issues. But it might be fine next time I try and play it. But yeah, I'm definitely enjoying Zero 2. Like the first one's all right. Don't get me wrong. It's just obviously Zero 2 is a lot more professionally made, so you've got more unique weapons in it. Better map design. The balancing is much better because there's bits in the first one where I just really don't like the balancing of it. Where it's just like you'll die over and over, and then you'll get a really easy bit for a while. Whereas this one actually seems like they've got the difficulty curve right, whatever difficult you set it to. Because in the first one, there's the bit with the turrets. Even on easy, I find that bit quite difficult. Yeah, but I think again, I don't know about the Half-Life lore too much because of the fact that Valve never finished any of it. But I thought the Aperture Science stuff was meant to be where the Borealis was or something, wasn't it? I think. But again, look, so I've not finished it yet, so don't do any spoilers. But yeah, Entropy Zero 2 I'd recommend, and you can just get it through Steam. So anybody with Steam, I think as long as you're in any of the Half-Life 2 games, it's just like a free install. Yeah, I doubt Valve is going to ever get it finished. So is that Resident Evil 4 randomizer? So is that where like every weapon changes to a different weapon or whatever? I'm assuming key items are still where they should be, are they? Because if you have a randomizer that breaks the game in the sense you can't open doors, that'd be a bit of a problem. The New Vegas randomizer was quite fun, where you get like weapons of really weird stats and whatever. All right, Goon? I assume you mean hello rather than bellow, but hello. But yeah, I like the randomizers where the games are still playable, because obviously the problem with some randomizers, it will do the thing where everything changes, including key items, which breaks the game. But yeah, if it's one where like the enemies change and like the pickups change in terms of like if it's a health item or a weapon or whatever. Yeah, that sounds interesting, Alex. Again, I suppose it's like a roll of the dice then with that, isn't it? Sometimes you can get a really easy game. Sometimes you can get an unplayably hard one if the first things you pick up are really bad items and it puts like end game enemies early in the game. We can hope so, kid, but the thing is, bear in mind, Valve doesn't have a lot of the people that worked on Half-Life 2 working for them anymore. So I think if people keep holding out hope for a new, really good Half-Life, it's going to be the Duke Nukem Forever kind of thing, where it's just not going to be what people want. So I'm basically just thinking there's never going to be a Half-Life 3, and if there is, I'll be pleasantly surprised rather than hoping for it to actually come out. No, no lockdown here at all. You don't have to wear masks anywhere as well. Some people still wear masks. I don't bother. Like, if I was visiting somebody that was really vulnerable, I might wear a mask just to stop me giving them anything. But there's no lockdown at all in the UK. Can't even remember when it all ended now. Probably over a year ago. But yeah, there's nothing like that here. I think China's the only place I've seen where they still have the really strict stuff. Yeah, back to normal, except any of the businesses obviously have folded during lockdown, which is a shame. Like, where the government just didn't give them enough money to. Yeah, I was saying Source 2 looks promising, MKid, but I don't want a VR game. I just want a standard game. I went through a phase recently, Alex, of doing a load of Half-Life 2 mods. Which ones did I play? If I've got desktop icons for them, I can tell you. If not, then that might be a bit difficult. Year-long Alarm I played not too long ago. Again, there's some I've played, but the problem is because they don't have Half-Life in the name of the mods on my Steam interface, I don't actually know what they're called. But there was one. There's been a few which have just used loads of Half-Life 2 assets that were quite fun, like new levels. Right, Pez candy dispensers. I'm glad you enjoy the videos. Yeah, I'm just saying here, kid. There's nothing here now, thankfully. I don't know who Minecraft and I know what Minecraft is, but is Steve the person you play as in Minecraft? I don't know. I actually bought Minecraft. It's one of those games that after building like forts for a bit of time, I just got bored with it. It's not like the sort because I have friends that still play Minecraft. I just can't keep interested in it. But yeah, there was quite a good one where you have to get like you're like a cosmonaut or something on the Half-Life 2 mods, and you get like knocked down to Earth, and then you have to like find a rocket to get back. So it's like not City 17. There's an opposing force 2 that's being made at the moment that's quite fun. Only if I could get a hold of one, and because considering at the moment that you're not able to buy stuff from Russia, I doubt I'll be able to review one. Otherwise, I'd like to have reviewed one. I know some other channels that reviewed it that said it's all right, but unfortunately, I don't have one. Anyway, yeah, I'll head off now because, like I said, I've got stuff to do, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm going to try and do some more streams this week when I've got a bit of spare time. I mean, he sort of is, though, isn't he, though? Steel Battle, he sort of is the antagonist because he just takes you away from everything. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to try and get a video done later this week, but again, I won't say too much about it in case I don't get it done and then people start saying, where was it on a certain day? Yeah, cool. If you follow that tutorial, Visa, at least on a NVIDIA GPU, like the modern ones, it seems to just be follow the tutorial exactly as they say how to do stuff, and it works fine. But like I said, I played about with it for a couple of hours and was really enjoying it. But there's lots of like forum threads as well where people say about stuff they've tried, what works, what doesn't work, in terms of tags and settings and all stuff like that. Because a lot of it is finding the right tags for it to sort of produce stuff and that. So anyway, yeah, have a good day, everybody, and then I'll probably try and do some more streams this week, regardless of the video as well.